That's right, May the 21st. You're finding us all around the place. Like I said, we're on Spreaker, we're on Podcast Addict, we're on iTunes, we are on Facebook Live, we're on the talkSPORT app. Maybe you can tell many people that they can do this. If they missed tonight's live show, they can download it and have a look themselves. And, of course, Joe Rogan joining us on Spotify. Coming to you as a tag team from parts unknown. It is Blake Ayshford who joins us from Terrigal right now. Also joining us from parts unknown, it is Mark Peard. I'm in my lounge. It is May the 21st. You know why today's a cool day, eh, boys?
Go. Yes, of course
because
I do.
This is, of course, the day in 1873. A fellow by the name of Levi Strauss and his mate Jacob Davis got a patent for their new pants called blue jeans.
Oh,
Levi's.
All right, so you've got them covering your bum today. Welcome to that there too. But of course, we've got our friend Russ Hargreaves who's coming with us on the show right now, which we are very, very excited about, all the way from England.
No one can hear us again, guys. We'll have to do that again. I'm joking. Blake, what's your language? There's kids. You thought I was real,
No kids, because you tell them to go to bed.
Kids to bed.
But I expect it from you, because that's what you do. You just mess up the audio every week. There's something wrong that you mess up.
No, it's because I spent all day today, and I'm very excited about this, editing up the Full 90 podcast. The boys have put on a really cool interview with Tamati.
Oh,
Tamati
Williams.
Yes, Tamati Williams. Goalie, and it's incredible. And they'd given me 2.5 hours to break down into. I've got it into an hour. It sounds great. It looks crisp. You guys will be loving it. But somehow, in that moment of editing on the same computer, I've managed to not make this mic work, so I can't hear it. Sounds like I'm just yelling at things, and I've got earmuffs on. So maybe I'll do that. That's actually a bit better.
The Dolby, was the Dolby NR button left off?
Don't know what I've done to it, and that's why our noise was a little skew with. But question: why did they go with the word jeans? Do you know what I mean? Like they blue jeans. What are jeans?
That is a good point.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's called blue jeans. Hang on, wait. We're my wife's in the kitchen. Cal, do you know why jeans are called jeans? Why were they called jeans?
Anyone
not
who's
just
watching?
pants?
Someone.
She doesn't know, but she feels very lucky, obviously, to be married to someone who would ask a question like that just out of nowhere. NRL. Denim pants doesn't work. Yes, yeah, okay. Let's cross live to Terrigal because obviously we were in Tamworth. Now we're in That's
Terrigal. Mate, that beach looks good. That beach looks good. If only we could swim in it.
Okay, that's right. You're not allowed to. Yeah. So you told us the other night about the clean zones and the dirty zones. The dirty zone between your room and down to the dining area.
Yeah. What training today?
Has that changed at all? It hasn't. It's the same, is it?
So we get pulled up right at a little barrier. Yeah. And it's just basically concrete, and they put 2 witches' hats there, and just made it a clean zone and a dirty zone. So we get out of the car and hop straight from the car into the clean zone. But in the car, you have to take your shoes off and put your other shoes on without touching the ground and jump into the clean zone.
This is ridiculous.
That's crazy.
And I asked the doc, I said, Doc, so obviously you know, what they're saying is that the coronavirus can't attach to your clothes. It can only attach to your shoes. And her answer was that I think they're throwing out rules and they're following the laws of, you know, when you come through and you got to check your boots and your shoes.
Oh, yeah.
So they're going off that, just with no proof that the coronavirus can be caught from shoes.
Oh, well, at least they're doing a thing.
Yeah,
they're doing a thing.
That's all they're doing, right? They're doing things.
Keeping you thinking.
Yeah, they are keeping you busy, keeping you active, keeping your head on a swivel. Stay frosty.
I've seen a couple of things today. You know, the doctors, how the doctors go in, wear the hairnets, the hairnets on the feet.
Yes.
You know, yeah. A couple of people did that. They went with socks and jandals. They went socks, but it was raining, so that was pretty stupid. So once again, you got to think.
You got to think these things through, Blake. Yeah. You know, you got to think these things through, and you know, there's a good reason why they have these rules. We don't know them. We're not smart enough to understand them. We just follow them.
Exactly.
Schedule came out today. Should we discuss it after we've had a word with Russ, though, because you got some time to let it absorb? I need to go. I'll bring Russ into the conversation. Russ, of course, a good friend of ours from when we worked in the radio sport industry. One of probably we spent time with him, Nate. Do you want to go into that story about the time we've spent with Russ?
Generally, it involved some form of beer, is pretty much what it involved. So, of course, he was out in New Zealand during the British and Irish Lions tour of rugby a few years ago. I think it's fair to say we spoke to the mayor and he said that Russell tried to drink Wellington, all of it. So that was quite good. So how might have just got our guest introduction music. G'day, Russ.
Guys, wonderful to hear your voices and see you, and I hope you're safe and well. Greetings and much love from this side of the world.
We're well, mate. We've had, is it 4 days now, Nate, of no new coronavirus people coming through? I mean, I don't want to say that out too loud because, of course, you guys have, the numbers are still there for you, but we were quite happy with 4. But apparently we have to go 28 days, 14 days and then another 14 days, 2 cycles before we can properly say we've crushed it out.
I think, yeah, absolutely. And it's brilliant to see how well you guys seem to have dealt with it, how you're so much ahead of the curve now. Yeah, you're right. We're not there at the moment. We were, I guess, one of the latter countries, certainly in Europe, to get it. And it's been a hell of a battle. I'm not going to lie to you. And there's still a huge amount that needs to be done. And you know what? Our biggest problems have been trying to get test, track and trace in and to get a proper amount of testing in as well. The likes of Germany, way ahead of us there. We'll come on to, I'm sure, the Bundesliga, their football returning well ahead of the Premier League. It's all tied in, I think. You need to be accountable. You need to have all of the right protocol in place. And for whatever reason, we've been very slow. We've not done it. It is getting there. There's been positive news in recent days, but still a long battle yet to be won. And that has ramifications about whether or not the Premier League can come back.
Russ, are you in charge of homeschooling? And the kids right now are running riot while you're dressed in a business shirt talking to us.
Sharp.
Basically, yes. My poor wife has got 2 of them outside trying to do a science experiment for school with some screaming. Great. And the third one, who's 9 months old, is crawling around in a semi-self-contained environment in the living room, hopefully, not pulling anything down that might hurt him. So, you're right. And I have put a shirt on, even though it's 9:30 in the morning here. Got jeans on underneath. It's not my pants, as you can see. And, yeah. So I try and look a bit official for you boys. It's a unique occasion.
Top man.
Yeah, it's a jeans night. So we mentioned about jeans. By the way, jeans are called jeans because they're originally manufactured in Genoa. My wife, Kelly, just popped in and told me. So there you go.
Genoa.
Hey Russ, no, Genoa, not Genoa. Okay. Hey Russ, you might have seen, because you're a sportsman yourself. You commentated out here in the British and Irish Lions tour and at talkSPORT and all that as well. And I don't know if you've seen, our Super Rugby sides are back into a bit of practice. And Joe Marchant, I know, is a player that I was really impressed with just before we went into lockdown. But he's your boy, isn't he? He's like the English player that the Blues stole for a year. Tell us a bit about him.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was great to see Joe get this chance. And you know what, Nate? He's been speaking a fair bit of late about his time in New Zealand, and what he's been saying in his most recent interviews just about the freedom he's found, particularly offensively, with that slight lack of structure compared to maybe the Northern Hemisphere. And that's Joe all over. He's a fiercely good competitor, very quick runner, great vision, great guile, great quick feet, as we talked about a few weeks ago on our old show. So yeah, I think everything we hoped, we fingers crossed, seen from his time. And the idea certainly for here is he comes back to my team, comes back to Harlequins for whenever the season restarts or for next season, and we just see that extra experience, what he's learned from his time in New Zealand, and fingers crossed he can bring it back to our game and then maybe break through with England. That's the one we would love. He's still only 23. He's had injuries that have set him back in the past. It's a tough position to try and break into for Eddie Jones. Eddie likes him. Eddie gave him his blessing to go to New Zealand for a few months and come back, as did Quins. It's all tied in with a new contract at the Stoop as well. So hopefully it'll be a richer experience for all when we get underway and we get Joe back.
We might not give you him back. He might do really, really well.
You'd have to break his new contract with Quins, though, to do that.
Yeah.
It's quite funny. It's quite funny. He fits in like at the team. Like, it looks like he's been out there for years with them. I was doing the sideline for them before I got the ask from Radio Sport, and he, you saw him out there, and Mark Telea was playing brilliantly out on the wing, and it's like that guy at centre feeds him so well, and looks like he really, was enjoying it and fitting in there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Marchant's a Māori name as well, like Joe Marchant. You've got some
like
Marchant cousins up in Mahi, haven't you, Nate?
Well, he's from Winchester, which is a nice cathedral city on the south of England. But, maybe there's some kind of Maori link. Who knows?
It might have been, mate.
Yeah. What was fascinating to me, it was I think it was yesterday that they came out with a whole lot of COVID-19 tests done around staff and players. I think it was around 750 odd or something like that. And there was it 7 or 6 that came back positive, and over here, that was like, oh God, they've got 6 out of that bunch. That's not, that's quite a lot. But for you, I'm guessing that was quite a positive story, wasn't it?
I couldn't agree more. It's the exact opposite to probably how you guys reacted to it. And it all ties back to what we said at the start of this chat about how we're just at a totally different place to you guys in terms of the curve, in terms of testing, and then test, track, and trace. So for us, this was good. I'll give you an example. When the Bundesliga was going to come back a few weeks ago, they did a similar test around the whole of the German top 2 divisions and got a similar percentage, 600 odd tests, about 7 or 8 positive. And we're the same. It was 759 tests across 19 of the clubs. Norwich were late for some reason. They've since come back and they're clear as well. So it's around 800 now, with 6 that were positive, 3 at Watford, one at Burnley, and 2 that are from an undisclosed third club. A couple that were coaches, a couple that were players. We know one player is the Watford defender Adrian Mariappa, and we know that one of the coaches is the Burnley assistant coach and former Nottingham Forest midfielder from years ago, Ian Woan. So that's where we're at, and we're actually quite happy with that. And if the whole protocol can be done properly, if it can be expanded, done as it would need to be twice a week, we are hopeful that this, among various other green shoots, is a tick to Project Restart and a chance to get the Premier League back. So yeah, weirdly, we were pretty happy with those results here, but I totally get how to you those numbers seem scary.
How we're talking about the EPL and that coming back. Say for some reason that it doesn't come back, do you think there might be players go to other leagues just to play soccer, maybe get some money or do whatever?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. I would suspect not. I think we're probably at a point where the next season would then start so quickly that you're basically into it. There has been, though, an issue with out-of-contract players because your contracts run till the end of June, and there's no way the EPL is going to start before the middle of June. June the 12th was predicted as an ideal start time. That ain't going to happen now. Everybody quietly admits it's going to be late June at the very, very best by the time players are fit enough to start to really be able to perform on a pitch and entertain and do everything that they're paid to do. So basically, the likes of Jan Vertonghen at Spurs, Willian at Chelsea would technically be out of contract with their clubs while the season is still trying to be finished off. That deal's not been sorted in rugby, funnily enough, in the Gallagher Premiership. The likes of Johnny May will probably move from Leicester back to Gloucester midway through a previous season that hasn't finished yet. But in football, among various things the Premier League have agreed in a raft of ongoing, endless meetings they've been having day after day after day, they've agreed that these players can have their contracts extended to at least get through this season, get it done, and then move afterward.
Russ, sorry, I might have missed this bit, but did you tell us how long it took for Germany to have those numbers that you've got now, similar to your numbers, to when the Bundesliga started back up? Like, what was the gap, and is that the same type of gap you'd be looking?
Yeah, no, I didn't, Mark, actually. It's a good point. I'd say around the 3 week to a month mark, I would say roughly. So basically, it's all to do with a couple of things. It's to do with just the protocols within the clubs and obviously phasing it back and doing the testing. But it's all still tied in with government guidelines as well. And at the moment, we're only in phase 2 of a 5-phase attempt to get out of lockdown and get back to, excuse me, whatever the new normal is going to be, to use that phrase. I'm sure you guys have had that a fair bit as well. So we've gone from individual training to training within a group, but still with no contact. The next one, and this could be next week according to the government, is to then go where you can actually have contact training, and that's the next crucial one. If we can get to that point, suddenly the next step to then going from contact training to actually playing isn't that far. There was talk about all of these matches being at one neutral venue or a couple of neutral venues behind closed doors. It will still be behind closed doors, but might now actually be at the club's own grounds. Those battling relegation, weirdly, despite there being no fans, were still very, very keen to play at their own grounds for the big games that should have been at home had it all not changed. So there's been a raft of little issues. There's been debates about pay cuts for players, whether they're for now or for the future. There's been the same in rugby as well. We've had a raft of issues, but we're just, as I say, slowly seeing a fair bit of it starting to come together. But it's utterly dependent on, of course, the numbers still coming down. They're high here. About 300 odd lost their lives yesterday, which is still a lot less than the worst, but it's still not great. Got massive problems in care homes. That's been our big problem. A real sleeping disaster that wasn't spotted early on. We went big on our health service, big on our hospitals and our NHS. Great. Care homes slipped through the crack. We're not the only country that's had that issue. I know it's unrelated in one sense to football, it's a world away, but our numbers broadly are still too high. So that's also got to come down as well before we can really do this and feel right to do it. What if a nurse or a frontline worker in a healthcare environment needs that test rather than a Premier League player? Our testing isn't necessarily up there, and a lot of people have said we feel guilty, we wouldn't feel right to get a fast track test when there's somebody putting their life on the line who probably needs it more.
Right, Russ, the bloody Germans are playing, mate. You can't let them play at the world scene. It's the Germans, man.
Angela Merkel is an excellent prime minister, and she's done a really, really good job. People say she's a bit frumpy, a bit boring, but ultimately she was bang on this from the start. She laid out to the people all the numbers, what they needed to do about the contact rate and so on. She had testing from the get-go, and we talk about German efficiency in their cars and in so many other things in their lives.
Damn it.
You know what? They've been great. Yes, they had it a bit sooner, but they're way ahead. Spain and Italy had it dreadfully. We didn't probably learn enough from them. And even their football is a little bit ahead of ours about coming back. But again, they had it at their worst a bit before we did. And we do have to bear that in mind, that globally, we've always been playing a little bit of catch up to mainland Europe.
What did you make of that first round of Bundesliga? I mean, I know you've seen a million games of football. You commentate for Arsenal and that's the thing. But I was thinking, I saw two really interesting reactions, right, on Twitter, and it was like people going, "Okay, I have to find a Bundesliga club to like. Then I'll do this." And there was all sorts of flowcharts. And one guy, an American guy, said, "I feel like I'm with no crowd. I feel like I'm watching a really high level game of soccer that I've just walked on, and at a park." And another guy said, "This looks like practice." What did you make of it without the atmosphere? Because the singing in football is amazing.
It's a really strange one, isn't it? So one or two of the clubs tried to pipe through crowd noise, particularly during goals, to help aid it. Did you see, by the way, in South Korea, they had sex dolls in the crowd, which of course they've now been fined for and won't be doing that again. Apparently they weren't sex dolls, they were just premium dolls, whatever that means. But, so there certainly wasn't any of that. I kind of liked it. Do you know what? Just to make a quick analogy, actually, for talkSPORT 2, I fronted up our golf coverage when Rory McIlroy came back, and we had that on Sunday, the Behind Closed Doors charity event. And a similar feeling. It was just brilliant to watch live sport and quality players, but it certainly lacked something in terms of atmosphere and just this whole new normal with social distancing. It was weird. Certain teams forgot and celebrated, which they've been reprimanded for since. Others kept it much more under wraps. You could see that they were just easing back in. The quality of the game maybe wasn't quite where it needed to be yet. But you look at an Erling Braut Haaland scoring, Lewandowski looking so sharp for Bayern the day after. It was just good to have it back. And certainly here, we looked at it and said, you know what, in a few weeks, if we could do this, we'll take it. It's gone from the start of the pandemic when no one really understood or envisaged its severity, when everyone was like, no, it's got to be the Premier League back and as normal in front of crowds, otherwise we don't bother. Largely, the feeling has changed to saying we just want some football back in some capacity. And if it is the way that it's probably going to be, we'll just take it because we want it so desperately.
So would that be fitting for you and a lot of other English fans if Liverpool were to lift the trophy with no fans and none of their fans could really go to a pub to celebrate?
Yeah, it's a really, really good question, and it's a fear. It's a fear as well, because what if fans don't actually adhere to what they're told? What if they do go to Anfield and basically celebrate? What if they do go to pubs are shut, but if they do find a way to kind of congregate en masse and really go for it? That is actually one of the worries and one of the reasons why this idea about neutral venues might be taken away, because fans might turn up outside these neutral venues and start cheering en masse. But if it's back to your own ground, local police know the areas better, they might congregate. They probably have a relationship with the fans and their supporters clubs already. So on an individual basis, force per fan, try and maybe ease that away and stop it happening. But it's a concern. We know whatever happens, boys, Liverpool will lift the title. We've agreed that our season won't be annulled. Others have been. Ours, whatever happens, even if they can't finish the games, it's done on points per game, and whatever happens, by a street, Liverpool have won. Relegation, not so clear. That's still up in the air about what on earth would happen if we can't finish these 9 games.
It sounds like a Liverpool fan, though, to sort of do that and break the barrier.
Yeah, that's what I want to expand on Blake's thought there as well. Like, if you're the head of police and you think, okay, one of these clubs is going to win the championship, the Premiership, oh shit, it's those guys, they're going to run out onto the street. Would it be the Liverpool fans? Are they, because they've been waiting the longest, Hey, is that the one club? It's obviously Wimbledon would be the club you wouldn't want in this thing, but in the Premier League, as Liverpool fans, are they the ones most likely to run out and start singing?
Do you know the other one, I think, and I love them because it's one of my clubs through my dad, but I can imagine Newcastle fans. If Newcastle fans won something after all of their time under the Mike Ashley regime, which, by the way, might come to an end. It's a bit controversial, but the Crown Princes of Saudi Arabia and all these people are getting together and looking at a way to maybe buy Newcastle off Ashley. If they invested, bought some proper decent players, possibly... that could be one. I could see them going big time. You know those massive fat Geordies who turn up in the freezing cold in December here and watch the game, with no tops on, and they're there with about 12 pints of brown ale. Those lads, I can imagine, they would break any form of protocol and any form of social lockdown possible to celebrate winning something. 1969, the last time they won anything, which was the old UEFA Cup. So they'd be key.
They're dealing with a different girth size as well. That 2 metre radius is a lot wider than most. Russ, what else?
You're already on them after 2 metres, aren't you?
Exactly. You're touching. That's right. You can smell their sweat from there. Russ, what else? What's the headlines that are going on in sports over there now? I mean, that was one that took my interest from yesterday. But what's the sports chat that's going on for in the UK at the moment?
A lot of it is around just returning to sport and just how we're feeling, Mark, that stuff is starting to come back. So I love doing the golf, as I mentioned, for us on Sunday. We've discussed where we're at in football. Rugby's an interesting one, Gallagher Prem-wise. It's emerged that we'd need one neutral venue, buy a secure venue to play the rest of that season out, probably from July onward. Early favourite is Bristol, Ashton Gate, the home of Bristol City Football and Bristol Rugby. Nice venue. It's got 4 key criteria which it would need, which is a pitch that could cope with multiple games, training facilities nearby, good hotel and changing room facilities for multiple teams, all this kind of stuff in place. So we'll wait and see if that happens, as well as being biosecure. So we've been right across that on talkSPORT over the last couple of days. Cricket, not looking good. We're looking late July at best. The Cheltenham Festival, one of my favourite local county things, that was cancelled the other day. We hope to at least get international cricket back later on in the year, but that's got a lot of work to do. So a lot of what we've been doing is just being right across where we're at in terms of what could come back when and how. And yeah, we are behind you, and that's dominated our agenda and continues to do so, in light, of course, of just hoping and praying that we can beat this here, thinking about those frontline workers who are, in the depths of it still, and just trying to make our lives safe and secure and better. And our hats are still very much doffed, and our hearts still go out to them as well.
I've got a challenge for you and your talkSPORT too, mates. So the Blues were back in training the other day, and one of our guests on the show, Johnny Ruru, ran a 4:14 for the Bronco, and Bowden Barrett ran a 4:12. So if you guys at talkSPORT, you should run it like a relay and see if you can do a 4:12 as well. But there was a story, and can you explain? This must be a cultural thing. Can you explain this to me? So I saw that apparently England's new rugby kit is going to be made by a company called Umbro. And I think I saw some of that, and people just lost their minds. You can't have this Mike. As when you said Mike Ashley, that Mike Ashley shit, what's the problem with Umbro? Like, what is it?
Anything that's associated with Mike Ashley is not good, and that's one of the brands that he is kind of what he's done. Basically, to give you a quick background, he's very clever. So Sports Direct is his empire that he owns, and they're these fairly cheap but pretty good sports shops all around the country. They're pretty rough and ready. You don't get any airs and graces from the staff. Everything's stocked up in big kind of piles. But you get some decent stuff at a decent price. I went and bought my daughter some tennis stuff there. When I got back into a bit of tennis the other week, I managed to kind of buy a few bits and bobs cheaply, and it's good. But what he's done is he's bought old brands like Slazenger. Do you remember Slazenger?
Yes,
Dunlop, even Dunlop. And Umbro would be another, because Umbro was huge in the 80s here, loads. I remember Everton, for example, when Everton had a brilliant football team in the 80s, it was always Umbro. He's cleverly kind of bought the rights to all of these kind of brands that have gone a bit chitty over the years. I love finding out to use words like this with you guys, because we can't do it.
Yes, you can. Yeah, you go.
Love it. I have to be careful when I go back on air in the UK now, in case I drop one in. But he's done that, but he's a ruthless businessman. He tried to avoid the lockdown by saying he was an essential source, and there are obviously people on the front line going, no, not sure about this. this. There was a big expose a few months ago about how his workers were in nappies because they weren't allowed to go and have a toilet break because it would be too much time spent away. Amazon had a similar issue. There were all sorts of stuff. And generally with Newcastle, he's a big, brash, annoying Cockney, and they hate the Cockneys up in the northeast. He doesn't invest in the club properly. He buys all these bargain basement kind of bumbling players who are either injured or young or mentally fragile or whatever. And, he never really invests properly. When he does, they tend to be rubbish players as well, like Shillington, who's only scored twice for 40 million quid. So basically, they loathe him. They desperately want him out. And in Newcastle, it's the heartbeat of the club, of the city. Newcastle United used to be every single kid would walk around in his black and white. And in recent years, you start to see the odd Liverpool, the odd Man U top, even in Newcastle. And that was the one city you would never see another shirt, and it's just started, and people are wondering about the future of that club being the heartbeat of the whole northeast. So they biff him out, that would be very, very popular, but it's all tied in to that. Basically anything that's Mike Ashley, you secretly go and buy a couple of things and don't tell anyone I've done it, but broadly I hate it. I would never go. I don't want anything to do with it.
All right.
Oh, Russ, man, that's been awesome. Thank you so much. We won't take up much. I'm worried about the young one downstairs.
I am. He's probably back in the fire again or something. He'll be fine. I'm only joking.
All good, mate. Thank you so much for your time, brother, and we would love to stay in touch. All the very best over there, and we'll keep an eye on just what the results are and how far away the Premier League is from getting back underway.
Perfect, and we'll look forward to speaking in a few weeks for another update. I'm sure. You take care, guys, and lovely to speak to you, and stay safe.
Absolutely. Still great looking, my man. Catch ya.
Hey, look at this guy. Look at this
Take
guy.
care.
Cheers. Here we go. That's an amazing story, because honestly, I saw the shirt and I was like, oh, okay. And then just the people like, you can't put this shirt. I was thinking, what's wrong with Umbro? But then I suppose, like he said, when he lumped it with Schlesinger, I thought, oh yeah, true. That's good. Sports Exacto. What else?
As soon as he said those, I thought of three that I want to see back. I want to see Stussy. I want to see.
Yes.
Wait for it, Blake. Don't use all your left yet. I want to see Fubu. Remember Fubu with the
yeah.
And I want to see Bombora, the Bombora surfwear. Remember Bombora?
No.
So they used to put out these jerseys.
Bombora's pretty niche, mate. They would have been at the Gisborne surf shop, eh?
Yeah, Bombora. Any other suggestions? Make sure you write them down on our page right now. What old sports brand you bringing back? Yeah, bro, Fubu.
The jackets, the yellow all top.
Yeah, Fubu was that Shaquille O'Neal's? It was For You By You, right?
Was that what it was?
Fubu. Yeah.
Fubu.
Yeah,
I think I remember LL Cool J used to wear Fubu. I was like, oh man, and roll up one of his pants legs.
Fubu. About Feeler?
Feeler's still around. Feeler's still around. Yeah. Feeler's making a comeback, man.
I thought they died, man.
No.
Welcome.
Feeler's
stay
still
strong,
around.
Feeler. Stay strong.
Feelers, if you're quite serious about your football and you know about, first of all, you call soccer football. And then secondly, not just the English clubs, you know all about the Italian leagues and Spanish leagues.
Who's that?
That's
Feeler?
what I think of when I think of a Feeler person. I think they're quite elevated.
I would have thought,
love.
Yeah, because they've got the it's kind of like a retro footwear that they've put out, and they've got massive grips on them now. There's a lot of girls' Feeler shoes that are out, and they're kind of like streetwear, but almost platform shoes. So they've got big grips underneath them, and they look out of it. Damn it! I just had another one that was floating around in my head.
Tell you who's making a fight back too while you're thinking of that, Pid. New Balance. They started to etch in the last couple of years in Rugby League. Started to get some big names.
Because wide feet, eh? My dad was a big human, and he had really wide feet. So, and he used to only wear New Balance. And he was like, well, those wide football buddy feet on. He tried to do Nikes, and he just couldn't fit them in because they were too skinny.
They're making a comeback.
Just a couple of comments that have come through that you'll find amusing. Stephen Moore, this is a great one. Great having Russell Hargreaves on. Please make him a regular. We will. When we start getting revenue stream coming in, I've already talked with Russ. He says, mate, get as many free ones as you want, but if you can get some revenue starts coming in, I'd love to be a regular on the show. So that's one of the plans, is to get that happening. What else we got? Bryce wanted to suggest Billabong. Billabong, you can still find it. You can still find it.
Billabong was good, eh?
I've got a real pair of board shorts that are blue, were dark blue. Now they're light blue. That's how long I've had them for.
Aiden suggesting Gola. I remember Gola.
Gola.
Yeah, Gola was like, you could get Gola in the warehouse. You could get the Gola brand in the warehouse in this country. Yep, Gola, Gola. Justin says Rainbow Creek and TNC surfwear.
TNC, yeah.
Hot tuna.
TNC were good. And hot
tuna.
No Fear. Remember the No Fear hats?
No Fear.
Yeah, No Fear. Then it became No Fear. And you did that because I mean there was Quicksilver was like so in Hastings we had it was Quicksilver was the top of the tree, and then there were like the TNC ones, but that was like your mate that had an uncle who'd been to Auckland or something.
Yes.
Or something not with a main street but main streets when they'd been to one of those cities.
The town and country.
It was the yin and yang, yeah. So my steez in 1988 or 87ish was that I would wear the long sleeve hoodie one. Right, and there was like my yellow one, but then I would wear one that didn't have a hoodie over the top of it of a different brand, so that I had one brand on my hood and one brand on that. Nice. So there you go. That's that was fashion.
When we didn't have, I remember
I didn't have a girlfriend.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
My mum would never buy me expensive clothing, but I remember they opened up one of those in Gizzy. They had like a store that had nothing in it, so someone would import a whole lot of cheap clothing and just chuck a whole lot on a shelf. Anyway, FUBU. Yep. Some FUBU store opened up for literally about 3 days, and it must have been counterfeit or whatever it was. But my mum brought me 3 pairs of tearaways, FUBU tearaways. They were the nastiest pants ever, and I loved them. And I'm so upset that I didn't keep them. And you could just you'd walk on. There's no reason to do it. Just take the pants off. But no. You would walk out onto the court and rip them right off.
On my phone. I'm going to Google where I buy FUBU.
You would look like a FUBU wearer. Like it would suit you.
Yeah,
100%.
Even with your long hair, you had the little strip down there.
Strip down there. And,
that's you.
And I used to wear a sweatband to keep the hair out of my eyes and just FUBU'd up.
FUBU.
Always keep the hood up.
What colour? Do you remember what colour FUBU?
Silver. Go past silver. Can't go past silver with FUBU. It's always silver and like a shiny kind of... You don't see... the last time I saw a FUBU top, I think it was in a second-hand store, and it was like this perished... sort of really bright silver, but it was all sort of crackling, and it had the tiniest little FUBU on there. There was And One. And One was another basketball.
Yeah, And One.
Yeah.
And One was good.
I don't know if it's still around, And One, but that was cool.
Oh,
so I got it wrong. It's For Us by Us.
Okay.
That's what it was. But apparently, I just Googled, is FUBU? And it finished it with still a thing. And it is.
Yeah.
So it's still available. And apparently the guys, this is what I'm reading here off Wikipedia, the guys came up with the name because they figured that all the really cool brands only had 4 letters like Nike and Coke.
I'm so glad I represented them with pride. Well done, FUBU. Well done, FUBU. Anyway, we've got to talk about the NRL. What is it? What are we calling it? The schedule.
So schedule's out, so that's good.
If I go, I might be able to screen share it. Except my computer's set at a weird time, which is embarrassing. So you'll look at it and be like, okay, that's not the right time. So if we got the official times there, I'll screen share this, Blake, and you can talk us through your predictions, and then you can tell us how many wins you reckon the Warriors get. Can you guys see that? Right. Is that working?
Okay. Yeah. There we go. That's good.
Okay.
Warriors.
So we got the first game up, and look at this: Broncos taking on the Eels. Round 1. Oh no, round 3 really, but $1.90.
Why is it at 2:50 a.m.? That's ridiculous.
Well, that's what I'm saying. My clock is set wrong. Okay, so don't ignore the times. It was going to be wrong times anyway because I'm on the NRL.com website. Let's look at this. When I say the TB, Sportsbet can't break him. That's a great game to start them up. Blake, $1.90
They
each.
just got McCulloch just got released from the Broncos and signed with Newcastle Knights as well today.
Yeah.
Yes.
He did.
So that's massive. That's big. I reckon Broncos will win that though.
Okay, let's not go through every game because...
I just want to go Warriors.
Where's Warriors? Okay, Warriors, here we go. 10 p.m, which isn't the right time. Friday the 29th of May. May not be the right day either. My computer's set at the wrong dates and times. I think it's actually based in New York, this computer.
That's American time.
Yeah.
Are you on a VPN?
Yeah.
I'm on a VPN, maybe. Possibly.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Okay, so Warriors, can we get over the Dragons?
Yes, we can.
Will we get over the Dragons?
We will win that first game.
Really?
Yeah. And on my I'll go through, but my prediction is we'll get 10 out of 18 games wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
where's that?
If we
lose
that, it's probably it might be because I'm a bit too close to the team and they're training like really good and they're looking classy. But I don't know what the other teams are doing. But I can only speak for the Warriors, and I reckon teams are going to ride them off. And we have got the wood over the Dragons the last couple of years.
Yeah. And what tells you that? It looks
those
like
those
results down there.
26-18. 18,
26-18.
Oh, there we go.
Recent years, look at those there.
Okay.
Right,
Okay.
that's for you,
Okay.
kid, right there.
Fucking shut
Eat
up.
that shit.
Eat your own shit. Great comeback. Great comeback. Eat your own shit. I actually thought I had the whole draw there, but actually it's only just the first.
Mate,
No,
all
no,
I'm
no,
going to say is we're going to win.
round one's good.
We'll win 10.
Okay, we got Panthers up.
Yep,
the next week.
we'll win that as well. It's at Campbelltown. No Nathan Cleary. No
that's right.
Tyro May. So we're getting them at a good time.
Okay, round 5. Cowboys. Oh, Dick
Can
the
we just
Cowboys.
always refer to Nathan Cleary as TikTok or the TikTok man?
Yeah,
That's him now,
TikTok
isn't it?
man. Yep.
Yeah, the TikTok man. Yeah.
Nathan
I've got
Tok.
the Warriors. I've got the Warriors winning 3 in a row because the Cowboys have to travel from Townsville.
Okay,
Come back.
Rabbitohs. Drop the Rabbitohs.
We might drop that game.
Okay.
I think we lose 3 in a row here. Yep, lose Amy
Storm.
Park.
Oof.
And we think
the salary cap kings, the Roosters, isn't it?
I think
Oh, no, the
we might
Broncos.
lose. Yeah, actually, I think we win this game, the Broncos game.
Yeah.
Yep. And I
Okay,
think
that's
it's
round
win
8.
that.
Round 9, we've
Yep.
got the Titans.
Yep, win that.
Scrub the Titans.
Easy.
Yep.
Easy. Jeez.
They're the laughing stock. We're not. Then we take on the Sharkies. What round
Yep.
is that?
I reckon we win
Round
that one
10.
too. I
Round
reckon we
10.
win
Paul
that one
Gallen
too.
Paul
Yeah.
Gallen against his old club. Far out.
Round 11, we take on the Roosters. Okay, we're not.
I
That's
think
not
we
even.
dropped
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
dropped that
Cap
game.
Kings.
Fuck the Roosters. Tigers.
I reckon, we
Ooh.
get, I reckon we get the Tigers. I think we get the Tigers.
Really?
Yeah, we do get the Tigers. Yep, I'm confident.
Out.
Mate,
Okay.
they showed a little bit, not too much at the first 2. This game we drop.
Yeah,
Seagulls.
Eagles.
They're in my top 4, the Seagulls. This one we drop. Cleary's back. I reckon they're a massive chance of upsetting us the second time.
I like that you're.
Oh, hang on, wait.
I'm
Before
going
we
deep
move
in
on,
the future here.
Before we
Not
move
deep
on,
in the
Blake,
future.
I'm just imagining the articles that Danny Weedler are going to write about how Cleary now he's come back and he's all by the time we get to this round, this
Yeah.
game here, it's one of those say, oh yeah, I've learned the lesson and geez I'm focused.
What's that
He's
thing?
more focused than we've ever seen him. It'll be one of those.
Wait, what's
Yeah.
that? What's that thing there on the screen? What's that thing? What do you do with that?
Something.
I know
Is it a
I know what
hose
those
ring?
2
Fire
things
pit,
are. That's
There's
a
a
green.
green-
Fire
Yes.
pit?
Say again.
Fire pit?
Really? No, it looks plasticoid.
Is it
Well, I can't
is it a
really see now.
no, it's one of those
Thank you.
compost drums.
Oh, okay. Damn.
All
Let's
right, where are we?
quickly move through.
Sorry,
got
I
the-
distracted us.
The Bulldogs.
Yep.
The Bulldogs.
Yeah, get out,
Yep.
Bulldogs.
We get the
out.
dogs. We get the dogs.
Get the Dogs on
Yeah.
in round 15. Round 16, we look at the
Yeah, round
90s.
16.
Yeah,
Yep.
beat the Knights.
We get the Knights back for that round 1. Think we're
Yeah.
a better team.
Yes. We're closer. We're a closer team. Closer knit team.
Danny Badera still a Knight. Okay.
Eels. Oh, fuck them. Let's move quickly
I think
past the
the
Eels.
Eels
in round
get
seven.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they tip us up. Round 17. Round
There might be
18.
crowds
Wouldn't
back by
surprise
these
me if we
games.
get up, though.
Hopefully this is in front of a crowd.
Yes.
This one.
Sharkies. Sunday, 1:30
The
a.m.
Sharks-
in the morning.
The Sharks get us. Yeah. At 1:30 a.m. I think the boys still tired. The Sharks are at home. Yeah, they get
Yeah.
us.
1:30
Best
a.m.
work.
Sharkies.
Yep.
Round
I think
19.
we finished strong here.
Okay, so we
I think
beat
we
the
finished
Raiders.
strong. I can't remember.
Do we tip up the Raiders? Do we...
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
do. We're the better team. Yeah, we beat the Raiders.
Shame.
I don't think originally this morning I did, but now that Nate's here, I'm going to say we do.
Oh, my
Okay.
sides. Wait,
Eagles.
Oh.
Eagles in round 20. And that's it. That's the
And I
last
think
one.
the Eagles rest their players because they're in the top 4, and we need a win to make top 8, and the boys win.
Shoo.
beautiful.
So we're in the top 8, and the boys are rolling.
We are in the
So I-
top
I
8.
think-
And rolling.
I'm here and making a last dance doco.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
What are you doing, mate?
I'm going to start
What are you
writing
doing,
notes, taking notes. I don't know. It's going to
I want them. I wish they could have done a last dance doco about that Raiders side of the mid '90s. Just that last one, you know what I mean? Yeah, that would have been cool. It would have been cool to see that.
We even had a GoPro and if there was alive back then, the GoPro and Rubes was in that fight outside
Yeah,
the
where the guy pulled the gun on him.
That would have been awesome.
We're gonna get some old schooler guys back on, eh? Like so some guys who have got those real awesome stories that we go, what? Well, you can't do that now. And they're like, of course you can't do that now, man. That's how we used to roll. Boys don't know. I'm gonna learn tonight. Scott Taylor says, and one is the shoe sponsor for the NBL. Did you know that?
Oh, there you go.
They're still alive and
around.
kicking.
Yeah.
Yeah, still alive and kicking.
Sorry, everyone from And One.
Craig Fowler says LA Gear. What was LA Gear? Was that
Oh, LA Gear, yeah. They came out. They were kind of shoes. It was British Knights as well. They gave it a go, and they only sponsored one NBA player who was Derek Coleman, and that was their whole ad. He's the only one certified to wear them.
That's smart marketing. If you're not going to be able to get more the rest, just be like, well, he's the other
That's
one.
where they went wrong. That's where they went wrong.
LA Gear sort of gave it a bit of a push, but they didn't get a cut through.
I'm going to quickly cut through all our weather chat. Ross Henry says weather chat. Balmy day in deep south, still 13 degrees. Shit, I was meant to ask Rusty. It looked nice and fine where he was, eh?
Yeah.
It did, eh?
Looked nice and warm and fine. Cold tonight in Hastings. Weather chat, hashtag. Jeremy Kittel. I can't even say your name properly. Sorry, Jim.
Sorry, Jeremy.
Kittel. Bryce Hosking, very cold in the valley again. Then there's a whole lot of chat like, can only hear Mark, no sound from Nate, all that kind of...
Oh, we got to start.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brody Thompson, Nathan looks freezing. Is it cold where you are, Nate?
Oh, no, I've just gone with this is my my Stampeders hat, the Calgary Stampeders too.
Nice. And he also says it's pretty chilly in Christchurch. Weather chat. What was it like today, Blake? Was it with a bit of rain?
It was bloody beautiful this morning and then pissed down the whole day. And it's freezing tonight, so yeah.
Boys, we've got assignments. We've got assignments to do tomorrow. We need to put together a Skype video, what they call it, a street. What is it? Something mix. Oh man, I've lost the words.
A mixtape.
Mixtape. Yes, basketball mixtape. Because of course, a sweet mix.
Wow.
Bro, a mixtape because we're going to put our names in the draft, in the NBL draft. I worked this out. When our grandchildren's children say, "Oh, what was your great granddad famous for?" and you'd be like, "I was a part of the inaugural NBL draft. Didn't get drafted, right. Man. I have my name in there." So we need to put together a mixtape, the three of us. So get your footage to me. I'll edit it up and we'll display it tomorrow night on the show. Our mixtapes.
I've got a pitch. I've got a pitch to get me in. I'm telling you, I've got a pitch. I'm going to get drafted. Okay, cheer for me.
I'm emotional.
Get tattoos.
Oh, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
Get a tattoo.
Hey, if you make it, we all make it. You're taking us on trips.
That's right. Oh, no, totally, it is. Yeah. It's great. I've got it. It's a great
entourage.
That's right. That's the goal for tonight, anyway. Or tomorrow, we'll get it done. I'll edit it up, and we'll show you guys who jump on the stream tomorrow. And did we have any luck on my idea?
Oh,
sorry.
Shit.
Do we have any luck on?
Yeah, I didn't want to bring it up, but now that you brought it up, yeah.
Has anyone got any contact?
I did inquire with a friend, and she just laughed. I don't think you're going to get.
Yeah, I don't think I can either.
To come on. Yeah,
we should ask. Just put it out in the air. I don't know.
Okay, so tomorrow night I wanted to know how the sex industry was dealing with COVID-19 and how they had got on. I don't have any sex people in my phones. Few athletes. I don't have anyone who sells their bodies for a living. I can't say it without smiling. If you do know anyone who would be interested in talking to us seriously about how the industry has been affected so heavily, obviously, with COVID-19, any precautions that they've been warned about, protective clothing, anything different that has to change if they want to go back to work, just want to ask them those kind of questions. Give us a message, please.
How does social distancing work in all of this? So there you go. Just very quickly, your sporting headlines, as we heard, Andrew McCulloch is in Newcastle tonight now. A couple of NPC unions have gone. Actually, no, we are in. So there's only 4 of them they're unsure of. And the Sunwolves won't be part of Oz Rugby. So there you go. That's all. That's Terrigal. That's New Zealand. That's us tonight. Well, yeah, they're trying to get a Super Rugby comp up and going.
Best in the world.
Yeah, the Sunwolves went, can we? And they only got halfway through. Before the Oz went, no.
Can't handle it, boys. See you later.
Get out.
Cool. All right, then. Have a wonderful day. Remember, if you know anyone who knows somebody, flick us a message. Go on and just send us a message. We'll deal with it privately.
Yeah, we will.
And we'll ask some very grown-up questions.
Yes.